I'm Dr. Wichterman. I want to answer the question today of what is rational emotive behavioral therapy, or what is REBT. REBT is one of the pioneering approaches in cognitive behavioral therapy. It was developed by Albert Ellis in 1955. REBT fundamentally changed how we understand the relationship between thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This approach offers practical tools for understanding and managing emotional distress that remain highly relevant in clinical practice today. The ABC model is often seen as the foundation to REBT, or the core framework. This simple yet powerful model explains how psychological distress develops. A stands for activating event. This is what happens to you. Perhaps you fail an important exam, experience a relationship breakup, or face criticism at work. B represents your beliefs about that event. These are your interpretations, your evaluations, and thoughts about what happened. C refers to the consequences, your emotional and behavioral responses. Here's the crucial insight Ellis discovered. Most people assume that A directly causes C, that the event causes our emotions. He made me angry, we say, or that situation depressed me. But REBT demonstrates that it's actually B, our beliefs about the event, that largely determines our emotional response. Let me illustrate with an example. Imagine two students who both receive a B on a paper. Student one thinks, this is disappointing, but I can learn from the feedback and improve next time. This student feels mildly frustrated but motivated. Then student two thinks, this is terrible, I absolutely must get A's, and this proves I'm a failure as a student. This student experiences intense anxiety, shame, and despair. Same activating event, but drastically different consequences because of different beliefs. This is why two people can experience the same situation yet have completely different emotional responses. Ellis extended this model to include D for disputation, actively challenging irrational beliefs, and E for effective new beliefs and the healthier emotions that result. This DE extension transforms the model from merely explanatory to therapeutic. So, categories of irrational beliefs. REBT identifies specific types of irrational beliefs that create emotional disturbance. Understanding these categories helps therapists and clients recognize problematic thinking patterns. First, demandingness. The core of most emotional disturbance, according to Ellis, these are rigid, absolutistic requirements we place on ourselves, others, or the world. They typically appear as musts, shoulds, and have tos. For example, I must perform perfectly, others should treat me fairly, or life must be comfortable. These demands are irrational. They assume we can control what is often beyond our control, when in reality inevitably violates these demands. Emotional disturbance follows. Second, awfulizing or catastrophizing. This one's most famous. Evaluating negative events as absolutely terrible, the worst thing imaginable, 100% bad. It's the extremes. When someone says it's awful that I was rejected, they're not merely saying it's bad, they're rating it as worse than bad, as unbearable. This amplifies negative emotions far beyond what's helpful or proportionate. Third, low frustration tolerance. What Ellis sometimes called, I can't stand it. This is the belief that discomfort, frustration, or negative emotions are unbearable. I can't stand being anxious, someone might say. I can't tolerate criticism. Clearly, they can stand it. They're surviving it right now. This belief magnifies discomfort and often leads to avoidance behaviors that perpetuate problems. Fourth, global rating or overgeneralization, making sweeping judgments about the entire person based on specific acts. I failed this test, therefore I'm a total failure. He acted rudely, so he's a completely bad person. These global ratings ignore human complexity and create intense negative emotions like depression, worthlessness, and rage. Notice how these beliefs interact and reinforce each other. Someone might think, I absolutely must succeed, demandingness. It's terrible that I didn't, awfulizing, and I can't stand this feeling, low frustration tolerance, and this proves I'm worthless, global rating. REBT employs diverse techniques to help clients identify and modify those irrational beliefs we just described. The therapy is active, directive, and educational. The therapist functions as a teacher collaborator rather than a passive listener. Cognitive techniques form the core of REBT. The therapist uses Socratic questioning to help clients examine their beliefs. Where's the evidence for this belief? Is this thought logical? How does holding this belief help or harm you? Logical disputation challenges the sense of beliefs. Does it logically follow that because you'd prefer success, you absolutely must have it? Empirical disputation examines evidence. Where is it written that life must be fair? Can you prove that you can't stand discomfort? Pragmatic disputation focuses on consequences. How does believing you're a total failure help you improve? The therapist might use vivid analogies or humor to highlight irrationality. Ellis was famous for his colorful, provocative style. The goal isn't to eliminate all negative emotions, but to transform unhealthy emotions into healthy ones, changing depression to sadness, anxiety to concern, rage to annoyance. Behavioral techniques complement cognitive work. Homework assignments are crucial. Clients must track their thoughts, practice disputation techniques, or conduct behavioral experiments. Shame attacking exercises help clients overcome fear of disapproval. A client might wear mismatched shoes in public or sing on a street corner, learning that embarrassment isn't catastrophic and others' opinions aren't devastating. Role playing allows practice of new behaviors and responses. Activity scheduling combats depression and procrastination. Gradual exposure helps clients face feared situations while practicing rational thinking. The therapy is typically brief, often 10 to 20 sessions, though it can be adapted for longer term work. That's brief compared to, say, psychoanalysis. Sessions are structured, reviewing homework, identifying current concerns, teaching and practicing disputation, and assigning new homework. Accepting yourself as a fallible human being who has worth simply by being human. Regardless of achievements or others' approval, you rate your acts and traits, not your entire self. Unconditional other acceptance, accepting others as imperfect humans who will sometimes act badly. You can dislike their behavior without damning them as persons. Unconditional life acceptance, accepting that life is often unfair, uncomfortable, and uncertain, preferring better conditions while accepting reality as it is. These philosophies promote resilience and emotional stability. They acknowledge preferences and desires while rejecting rigid demands. You can strongly want success without believing you must have it. You can dislike others' behavior without requiring them to change. Research demonstrates REBT's effectiveness across numerous conditions. Meta-analyses show significant positive effects for anxiety disorders, depression, anger problems, and general stress. It's particularly effective for social anxiety, performance anxiety, and anger management. REBT works well with diverse populations, different ages, cultures, and presenting problems. Its educational nature makes it valuable for prevention programs in schools and organizations. The approach adapts to various formats: individual therapy, group therapy, workshops, and self-help applications. These emphasis on teaching skills for long-term use, making clients their own therapists, contributing to maintenance of gains after therapy ends. Clients learn principles they can apply to future challenges, not just current problems. How does REBT differ from other cognitive behavioral approaches? Compared to Beck's cognitive behavioral therapy, REBT places greater emphasis on philosophical change versus empirical disputation, and it's better at acknowledging emotions. It's typically more directive and confrontational. Ellis believed in vigorously attacking irrational beliefs. RBT also uniquely emphasizes secondary disturbances, getting upset about being upset, being anxious about anxiety, being depressed about depression. The key takeaway for clinical practice is emotional disturbance largely stems from irrational beliefs, particularly rigid demands we place on ourselves, others, and life. By identifying and disputing these beliefs, replacing demands with preferences, catastrophizing with realistic evaluation, and specific judgments, we can achieve greater emotional stability and life satisfaction. REBT offers both a theory of psychological disturbance and practice tools for change. It's a combination of cognitive restructuring, behavioral activation, and philosophical insight. Provides a comprehensive approach to mental health that continues influencing therapy today. Hey, if you found this helpful, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe. Thank you.